Hi, Amar. Hey, why do you look so sad? I made a website and I need to link it to a database. So you made a website and you just want to take information from that website and put it on a database? But it's an online database. Doesn't matter if the database is online. All you need is some PHP and some SQL.
Hi everyone, in this video we're going to look at PHP and SQL, and what we will do today is we're going to make a super simple registration form. What this form will let you do is type in data and then it will send this data to a database, and we're going to be using MySQL and PHP. But what exactly will we do? Well, we're going to go through 5 stages. The first stage is we're going to start a server. Inside this server, we're going to make a database. Inside this database, we're going to make a table. Then, we're going to make a HTML form. Then, we're going to write a PHP file to link our HTML form to our database, which is inside our server. But all you will need is a program called XAMPP, which you can download at that website you can see, Notepad, and an internet browser. Right, let's get started. Once you've downloaded and installed XAMPP, open it and it will look like this. You want to start the MySQL server and you want to start the Apache server. Remember that first stage, to start a server? You've now done it. The next thing we're going to do is to start a database. To do this, press on the admin button on the MySQL row. And this will come up. I know it looks like a lot of information, but it's fine. We're going to make a new database. Over here I'll press new. And give your database a name. Just remember what the name is. I'm going to call my database Batman. Again, you can name this whatever you like. Press create. And you will now see at the side, there is my database, Batman. If you click on it, it's going to ask you to create a table. So I'm going to call my table users, and I'm only going to want 2 columns. So I type my name, type in the number of columns I want, press go. Then it's going to ask me, okay, you said you wanted 2 columns. What are the names of your columns? Well, my first one is going to be name, and I'm going to want the user to type in text. So I'm going to have varchar, and I want the maximum length to be 50. I'm also going to want their email address. So I'm going to write email. This again will be text. And again, I will say the size of it is 50. Press save. You'll now see on the left, there is your database, and there is your table inside your database. You have now done the first 3 steps. Started a server, made a database, made a table. Now, let's get to writing some code. The first code we're going to write is the HTML form. So, super simple. In Notepad, we're going to start writing our HTML form. There's my open tag. There's my close tag. And in between, we'll have our body. and we're going to have form action equals, and then write this: http localhost / and I'm going to call this my PHP file dot PHP. Method equals post. Let's explain what that does. This is the start of my HTML file, or the start of my website. This is the end of my website. Body just says, this is what I want the user to see. This line here, form action, says I want to link to a form. We will make a PHP form. And when we make this PHP form, we're going to save it in a place called localhost. And this will be the name of my PHP file, my PHP file.php. Method, there's two methods, get and post. If you have post, it means it's going to send information to the server. If you have get, it means it's going to get information from our server. Simple so far, and we're nearly finished. Now, we're going to start writing what the user will see. So I want them to type in their name and I want their name to be text and remember in our table that we made, we had two fields, name and email. That's what this is. Now we want email. And now we want a button. We're going to close our form. We've already closed the body. We've already closed HTML. Oh. And then we need to save this. The name of this file doesn't matter so much, but the way you save it does. You have to save it as a HTML file, and to do that, just go to File, Save As. I'm going to save mine on my desktop, and I'm going to call this Reg for registration. But we need a HTML file, so I need to write .html. I will put all of it in double speech marks, and I will make sure the type is as all files. Press save. And if you look at your desktop, there's your file. And it looks like that. There's name, there's email, and there's my submit button. But right now, if we type anything in, nothing happens. Why does nothing happen? Well, we said in our HTML file, we want the action to be whatever happens in this file, my PHP file.php. But we haven't made this PHP file yet. So let's have a look at the code for this PHP file. It's a little bit longer, and here it is. Again, you can type this directly into Notepad. Host is where is your database? Well, it's in localhost. What is the username for your database? We haven't set any permissions for our database, so our username is root. What's the password to access your database? Well, we haven't set a password, so we just do double speech marks, because there's no password. DB name says what was the name of your database. And if you remember, my database name was Batman. TBL name, table name, what was the name of your table? Well, the name of my table was users. These two lines here. This first line says using the host information from here, the username information from here, and the password information from here, try to connect. If you cannot connect to the server, then write the words cannot connect. This line here says if you've connected, go to the database, Batman, and if you can connect, good. If not, say the words cannot select DB or cannot select database. Then my PHP file says, get the names from whatever field name is written in. And you remember, we had it here. Then do the same for email. And we had email here. Now we're going to insert whatever someone typed in here and here. We're going to insert that into our table. So here's what you're at. Insert into table name, users, the name, email, and where do we know where the name and email are from? Well, we know from here. There's where we're going to get the name. There's where we're going to get the email. And then if you've done it correctly, write successful. Otherwise, write error. And then finally, we close our connection. Super simple. But now we have to save this. This time, we're going to save it as a PHP file. So, File, Save As. Again, I'll save it on my desktop. The name of this file is going to be important. If you remember, I'm going to call it my PHP file.php. So I want to call it that. My PHP file.php. And press save. Now when you go to your desktop, you'll have one HTML file, one PHP file. Let's see what happens now. Here's my HTML file. I'll type in the name. And I'll type in my email. Press submit. Nothing happens again. Why? Well, we said that PHP file is going to be stored here in localhost. And we haven't done that yet. We've stored it just on our desktop. So how do we get a file into localhost? Easy. Back into XAMPP, press Explorer, and inside Explorer there is a folder called htdocs. Double click on that. Take your PHP file and put it inside htdocs. There it is there. Now let's try our HTML form. Now you see it came up with an error, and that's where PHP and SQL get a little bit fussy. If you have a look at our database, our table, we said name with a capital N, email with a capital E. But over here we had name with a little n and email with a little e. So we'll make sure they're perfect. File, save as, just like before. I'm going to call it reg.html. Everything in double speech marks, as all files. It says I already have one. Do I wish to replace? Yes, I wish to replace. Now let's have a go. Amar Anwar, amar@email.com, submit, and you're done. How do you know it's successful? 1, it tells you here, and 2, if you go back into your database, back into users, you can click on users, and there I am here, Amar Anwar, amar@email.com. And that's it. Well done.